Welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending our event today. This event is called Paradigm Shift to Holistic Healing and Frequencies. And I am the host. My name is Colleen Lemma. Some of you do know me and have been to my previous events. Some of you may not know me, so I'm just going to give a very brief introduction saying that I am an intuitive reader, healer, and teacher of spiritual and metaphysical subject. But the spotlight is not on me, which, normally I'm doing events through here and it's all about what I'm sharing or a meditation or something I'm teaching. But today we're going to do something a little different. Today we're going to talk with Elizabeth McGinn, sorry, she just got married.
No,
So
it's okay.
congratulations. Congratulations, Elizabeth. Yay.
Thank you.
We're going to talk to her about this paradigm shift, these new ways of alternative healing, and these new frequencies that we as a planet Earth, as a humanity, are coming into recognizing, becoming more aware of. And we're going to get to know a little bit more about Elizabeth and what she's doing. So let me just give an introduction about Elizabeth. So Elizabeth McGinn is the owner and manager of Regenerate Wellness Center, an alternative healing center located in Greenville, South Carolina. She is a clinical massage therapist using trigger point therapy, positional release technique, flow presso lymphatic massage, CranioSacral, Reiki, and aromatherapy. That's quite a list of things. Her passion is assisting people in their healing journey back to balanced health and wellness. So, welcome, Elizabeth, and thank you for being here with us today. We know you have a busy schedule, so thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This is exciting.
It is exciting. I'm really excited to do this with you today. So just to give you a little FYI before we get started, I want to let everybody know that we will have a time at the end of our event here for some Q&A. So if there's anything that Elizabeth talks about today that you have a question on, just make a note of it. And at the end, Elizabeth will answer some questions after we're done. Okay, here we get started. Elizabeth, can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what Regenerate Wellness Center is, and how you were led to create it?
Okay. So I'll keep this as brief as possible. I'm from Ohio, born and raised, and moved to South Carolina in 2020 or 2020, 2003. So I've been here for over 20 years. So this is now home. Um, Grew up in a traditional Ohio family. I am now a recovering Catholic, and I've had my spiritual awakening in 2016. I was a middle school teacher, and I just couldn't do that anymore. I could not be a part of their process anymore, and emotionally, it was just too much. So when I left teaching, that was dark night of the soul time of my life. And then I found massage therapy in that. And as soon as I started the school, I just knew that is where I was meant to be. Um, so I've been a massage therapist ever since 2016. Um, and one thing about me is that I love to learn. I love to, um, always try and find ways that I can help my clients. And so that led me to the Healy, which is one of the things we're going to be talking about. And it was one of Einstein's quotes, frequencies will be the future of medicine. So when I read that, I was like, whoa, I think they're onto something here. So my passion is just learning, 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 and how can I help my clients and how can I help humankind? Um, and what else can I talk about? Then I had my real spiritual awakening in 2021 when I left the Catholic Church and um, God started guiding me more and more. And that's when I found the energy enhancement system. And I asked my boyfriend at the time if he would help me run a center, and that's how Regenerate Wellness Center was born. And then he and I got married last June. Um, and he is definitely my best friend, and he has been instrumental in helping me get this going and getting it and helping our community even more.
My gosh, that's a great story. Thank you. And I love how your then like friend that became your boyfriend now became your husband. You know, he's
Yeah,
been with you throughout this process and supporting you, and you're a great
yep.
team together. So it's awesome to hear that, you know, that we can work together, you know, with our partners, because I think so many of us, even within partnerships, you know, our significant others, sometimes that's a dicey thing, is to work together, but it seems like you guys pull it off really well.
And we both really lucked out that we're also on that spiritual path. Both lucked out in that.
Yes, that's very
Yes.
important to have at
Yes.
least a similar mindset. So and not
Yes.
to be in competition with one another. And I know, you know,
Mhm.
both of you actually work together really well. I've seen you guys in action, so that's really great. All right, so can you tell me a little bit about your long-term vision for Regenerate Wellness Center and what your hope is as far as bringing healing to the community in your area?
So the long-term vision is really to be able to help the veterans and special needs um, communities. They are severely lacking in their aid, and I know that what we can offer here could truly help their bodies regenerate, hence the name of the center. Um, and so that's what my focus is long term is to be able to help those communities. It's I really feel like we are going to grow even more. The building that I've started out in, I'm full, and I'm hoping that I can expand. I don't know if we'll stay here or have to move. Still waiting for God's answer on that.
Absolutely. Knock out a wall next for next door at some point, right? And expand into it.
Yes,
When you
yes.
said your focus is to help, you know, these certain communities, I think you say veterans and I don't remember the
Special
special
needs.
needs, but you're open to anybody and everybody, right?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Open to everybody and everybody. But you want to focus on a type of community, a certain niche, because when you can start helping that certain niche, the word will fly.
Absolutely.
People's experiences will speak for themselves.
Yeah.
And that is a community that I know is underserved. And I would love to be able to help them get back to the state that God made them in.
Perfect. Yes, we all need to support one another, help one another, you know, always and forever, but especially in these times with the changing energies on the planet. And speaking of that, that's the next thing we're going to go into. So we're moving into this new paradigm on the planet, and so many things are shifting and changing and happening right now. So one of those things is about the future of health and wellness and healing.
Mm.
So, can you tell me your thoughts about this healing shift that humanity is going through in regards to health and wellness, and where you see this going in the future?
Well, as we all experienced in 2020, it was a true wake-up call to what the healthcare system is all about. It's not necessarily about our own personal wellness. It's more about their profit. And so with that in mind, we are definitely shifting. The whole collective is shifting and waking up and seeing that, okay, so maybe taking these things or doing these things isn't really going to help. And there are more and more people going to health food stores, going to supplement stores, trying to find, because that's where you start. That's where you start, is in those places to try and find some things. And then they eventually make it to us, where we do have supplements, we do have things that we know work for sure. Um, and so it's this paradigm shift is going to be it's pretty big, in waking up, not just the United States, it's the whole world.
Hmm. As far as, what we might call Western medicine or the old paradigm of medicine, I know that it's everybody's guess and everybody has an opinion, but what are your thoughts or your opinion on how long here in the distant past have you seen since you're running Regenerate Wellness Center? How long has it taken, do you think, to start really seeing
Okay.
the shift?
Um, we're still in it for sure. Still in it. I still come across people that um still have their full faith in a pill. Um, they don't realize that God gave them their own ability within them in order to heal themselves. We just have to get rid of all the toxins
Right. And then, are you
that
still
have
with
been
me?
given
Okay.
to us through our food,
Hmm.
through the air. Yes. Am I shifting out?
Yeah, yeah, you did for just a second, but you're good now.
Okay. Um, so I was saying that I'm still running into people that still believe in a pill, but and that is a real shame because of their own God-given ability to be able to heal themselves. Our bodies are absolutely incredible, and we can handle a lot. And if you were to see the toxins that keep on coming out of people, you would understand how are they still alive? Our bodies are incredible. And if we could just get rid of all the toxins or at least get them, start working them out, then our cells can work more properly. Then our cells, the mitochondria can function, the DNA won't be damaged, and that can still give the proper messages. So it's I'm really hoping that the geoengineering with the skies will cease state, and I'm hoping that other states will follow suit, and also with the water. It would be great if chlorine and fluoride were taken out of the water. Fluoride is very damaging to many processes, our pineal gland, our thyroid,
Mhm.
many processes in our body. So,
Yeah, it seems like such a tall order, doesn't it? With how, the skies with chemtrails and the chemicals that seep into the ground where we grow our food, and I mean, and all of these things that are, have been occurring, and it just seems like, wow, I mean, can we really get past this? But with these new and upcoming, healing frequencies and modalities, I believe we can. If people become more aware too through education and
yeah.
the self-care that is needed to, take care of their physical bodies and their emotional and mental bodies and spiritual bodies as well, right?
Yes,
When
it's
when
all
we
connected.
can, yeah, just like you said, I mean, we are a miracle and we can produce those
Mhm.
miracles, right?
Yes, yes,
So
very well
this
said.
this is going to bring us into the modalities that you have there currently at Regenerate Wellness Center. We know that, you're probably growing and expanding all the time, and there might be more and more things, that you're going to be offering. But one of the biggest things that you kind of promote, talk about that is at Regenerate Wellness Center is something called EES. And so, can you tell us what EES actually stands for and how it works and how it helps a person to heal? And maybe give us some examples.
Yeah, so the EES stands for Energy Enhancement System. You can go to eesystems.com and see what their research is. They've got decades of research. Um, the Energy Enhancement System does just that. It enhances the energy of your cells. And it does that by creating a hyper healthy energetic environment using light therapy. So there are screens that are facing each other, and those biophotons are colliding in the middle. creating a hyper healthy energetic environment. And the law of resonance is in play in this room. If you've ever, here's an example of law of resonance. Um, a trumpet player standing next to an open piano, and the trumpet player plays key E, plays tune E, and the chord on the piano the E chord specifically starts to vibrate. And that is the law of resonance in play. Nobody's touching the key. Nobody's to make that piano vibrate, that chord vibrate. It's the vibrations going through the air from the trumpet playing that key. And that's how it works with our body. This hyper healthy, energetic environment that we can't see, just like we can't see the trumpet making that sound, we can just hear it. Vibrations that we can't see, our cells start to resonate with that hyper healthy energy, thus raising the energy of our cells.
Wouldn't that
A
stand to
healthy,
reason then the other, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but it just pops
oh,
into my mind then, if we're dealing with the law of resonance and with the EES, the system that you have for healing, and our bodies are resonating to the frequency and whatnot coming from that, doesn't that stand to reason the opposite is also true then if you're around unbalanced, dysfunctional, dissonant people,
yes,
energy, situations, that opposite
yes,
effect is going to take place within your body?
yes, yes, very good point. Very good point. And I'm sure we've all experienced that. We've all walked into a room where we get a bad vibe, like, okay, something's not right here. So you started to feel the vibration of what's going on in that room being created by one person or multiple people. So yeah, that's a very good another very good example. Um, so a healthy cell 70 to 90 millivolts, and an unhealthy cell is less than that. So get down to 50 millivolts, that's inflammation and pain, all the way down to 15 to 20 millivolts is a cancer cell. And if we can just give these cells the energy, then it will have the energy to push out whatever's causing its dis-ease, whatever's causing the pain and inflammation, whatever the toxins are that cell cannot push out because the cell membrane is hardened, or it's just not functioning.
So the EES, the system that we're talking about, this can actually help to heal like cancer and other things, or how would you state that?
It helps the
I know there's
body
certain
heal
things I know
itself.
there's certain things you can't state, but go ahead.
It helps the body heal itself.
Right.
So it's the body doing the healing. We're just giving the environment for it to do so.
Okay. And I've
Yeah.
seen, I've been, of course, to your center several times. I've been in the room with the energy enhancement system. Can you explain to people like, it almost looks kind of crazy, right? You're surrounded by all these TVs with all these colors and like little
Yeah.
patterns and stuff going on. What exactly is that? What are those patterns and colors all about? And how does that actually help to support or assist the body in regenerating itself and healing itself?
So, of course, the different colors have to do with color therapy, having to do with the chakras, because each chakra is aligned with a system in the body. So, color therapy in that sense. Then on the screens, we have a sacred language that is speaking positive affirmations. It's speaking that your body is whole and perfect, that you are abundant. So it's giving positive affirmations. And just like you talk, giving the example about walking into a room or being around negative people, if we have positive affirmations bombarding us, then our body will resonate with that. Also, the Fibonacci sequence is encased in that. The way that the screens move, the Fibonacci sequence is the code of creation. So the screens are sequenced with that. There's also frequencies of the whale tones and dolphin tones. Um, I know I am forgetting some because she put so many healing portions in this technology. It's incredible.
Wow.
But that's
It
just a
sounds
few.
amazing. It sounds amazing. Can you give us some examples of people that have been to your center with certain things going on, I guess from anxiety to
Mhm.
anything else, and how, give us some successful, stories
Yeah,
of what
yeah.
the ES has done.
So we had an elderly woman coming to us, and when she started coming to us, she was on 11 medications. And after
Wow.
6 months of coming 2 to 3 times a week, 2 to 3 hours each time, um,
Think you froze on us there, Elizabeth. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Elizabeth? I
she
apologize.
was, yes,
Okay.
I think it's my internet connection. I might need to move.
Okay, well, I'll let you know if it happens again. But so we heard the part about the woman and how many medications she was on and how many times per week and how many hours she came. What did you say after that?
She was taken off 9 of those 11
Oh
medications.
my gosh, that's
Yeah,
spectacular.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and that was the only, I mean, she's an elderly woman, lives in a home, so she gets fed. She doesn't get to choose where she gets her food from. So the only thing she changed in her life was coming here.
Wow.
Um, Another gentleman was no longer considered diabetic. He had type 2 diabetes. He was no longer considered diabetic. And the only thing he changed was coming to the room. He didn't even change what he was eating. So that was incredible. Because usually diet plays a big role with that.
Yes, it does.
Um, what else? Somebody with ALS. They weren't from here, so they didn't get to stay for long. But the time that we did get to see her, she had her head dropped forward. She couldn't hold her head up. And just after coming for 1 week, I think she came a total of 10 hours, she was walking with her head more upright and she was able to talk. She wasn't able to talk coming in. She had to write everything down or text. Um, Another woman had like awful, awful surgery, oral surgery. Her face was so swollen and she spent probably 20 hours in the room and she could finally eat again. She could open her mouth again. She was no longer swollen. It took care of the entire healing process. I'm sure that the healing happened before the 20 hours, but um that was the time that she spent to where she was able to fully say that it was healed. So our bodies are magical. Our bodies are miraculous. They can heal themselves. We just have to give it the environment.
These are some amazing testimonials. Thank you for sharing, Elizabeth. So if somebody
I do
decided
want
to,
to say,
yes,
I'm sorry, I do want to say that with something that is more serious, we do have somebody that has a more serious condition where she has tumors in the brain. And we also have a gentleman too. We preface their coming in. It's going to take 100 to 200 hours to even see a difference, to even notice a difference, because they are dealing with something pretty serious.
right.
So it's not going to be, body's not going to say, kick it out right away. It needs time
Mhm.
because there are also other things in play. As we know, our bodies are not just a urogenital system or a digestive system or a cardiovascular system. We are one. And so we have to treat the body as one. And that's how our brain treats it in the healing process.
Mhm.
It has a priority list. And in order for that tumor to start to shrink, I'm just giving this as an example, in order for the tumor just to shrink, to be able to start shrinking, there may be other things down the line, down in the abdomen or the adrenal gland, other areas that need to be taken care of in order for this to be cleared up.
Because we're
It's,
interconnected. All of our systems are interconnected, working together,
yes,
right?
yes.
Hmm.
So it does take time. It does take time, but it took time for our body to
Right.
reach the point that it's at.
And because of our physicality, because of the dimensional energy we live in, any health imbalance, especially the more serious ones, they take
Yeah.
a long time to kind of get to that point, where we even
Yes.
recognize that they're there. So of course they're not going to just disappear overnight. As long as it may have taken that imbalance to get there, it may not take, hopefully not as long to, set it right and rebalance the system, but it's still going to take some time, right?
Yes. Right, right. And so we just have to be patient with that and understand that and know that the magic, the miracle will happen.
Hmm.
We have to give it the environment, and we also have to do the detoxing. The room itself is detoxing the cells, but now we have to get it out of the body. So
Right.
taking sea salt baths, we give a specific recipe. Taking a sea salt bath after every session is so important, because the sea salt extracts from our skin. So it is sea salt, not Epsom salt. Um, the detoxing, drinking lots and lots of water is very important, to help also pee stuff out.
Right.
So, yeah.
So very briefly, you told us a lot about how the energy enhancement system works and the process and what it can do. If somebody came to your center actually to experience a session in the energy enhancement system, what happens? Like, do they sit? Do they lie down? Do they have to get in a machine of sorts? Or, do they have to be strapped into something? I mean, what happens to, do that appointment for them?
Okay. So let's talk about as they're driving up. We hear from people that they start to feel the energy before they even get out of their car. And
Wow.
that's because of the scalar field that's being generated by the technology. Just because of the light colliding in the middle, it's creating a huge scalar field. And we all have scalar fields stemming from our heart going up and down. The earth has a scalar field.
Mhm.
Trees have scalar fields. We all have a scalar field. And the energy enhancement system creates one as well. And so people start feeling that energy. If they don't feel it in the car, they may feel it when they get out of the car. They definitely feel it when they walk inside the building. Um, they're greeted by Kimberly Ann, our receptionist, and we have a little honeycomb set up for people to leave the outside world outside. So put all your belongings in there so that you can focus on the inside when you go into the room. So in the room, we have cots and recliners, for people to be able to just kick back and relax. The technology puts you down, puts you into a meditative state. So it's very easy to relax and fall asleep. And sleeping is actually what we encourage, because when our eyes are open, we're using 80% of our energy
Mhm.
and we're trying to recharge ourselves. So it's best to have our eyes closed. Also, in a sleep state, that's when our body is regenerating. That's when our body is healing itself. So we encourage people to take their naps.
Wow. And are the appointments for these individuals that come in for the EES, is it like, do they have the room to themselves or are other people in there?
Yes, there are. We have six, two cots and four recliners. So six people can be in the room at the same time.
Mhm.
Yes. If we were this is what the inventor says. She wants to heal the world. That's her goal, to be able to heal the world. And if she would have made a technology, which was her first one back in 1978, she could only fit one person in it. How is she going to be able to heal the world if you can only fit one person in it at a time?
Mhm.
So this is what brought her into this.
Mhm.
being able to sit more than one,
That's great.
being able to sit more than one. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so how long is the appointment? Like how is it 1 hour or
Mm.
2 or 3 or
So the least amount that we suggest is 2 hours because the first hour your body's getting acclimated to the environment.
okay.
And then the second hour your body is starting to use what it's been resonating with. And so if it's starting to use it, you want to stay in that environment as long as possible. So we have some people staying 4 or 5 hours a day. It's just depends on your schedule and how healthy do you want to be?
And
How quickly do you want it to happen?
you have people spending the night there too, right?
Yes, we also have overnights. Yes.
That's
And the overnights are private.
okay.
So we don't have strangers staying together.
That's a good point.
There's a center in London. He does have community overnights and he's full every night. Um, because that when it's a full community coming in to pay for it, it does make it more affordable. So if you're up for that, then yes, we've got other people that would love to be able to do it.
Wow. That's amazing. So if somebody doesn't live in Greenville, South Carolina, where you and I both are at, how can they find a place that has an energy enhancement system? And how many centers are there? Are they just in the United States? Are they all around the world? Obviously, London, so they must be. And are they easy to find?
They are all over the world. You can go to eesystem.com and that you can, I'm sure right at the top you can say find a center. They say find a center. So you just type in your zip code, and it'll generate centers closest to your zip code for you.
How
They also
many,
have a map.
okay, how many would you suspect, like in a guess, how many centers do you think are in the world with an EES?
Um, over 500, I think.
Okay. And what about in the United States?
Mm, more than half of that.
Okay.
It might, you know what? It might just be 500 in the United States
Okay. So there's a fair amount
and
of
more
options
all
for
over the
people.
world.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. They don't have
There's
to.
a lot in Australia.
Okay.
There's a lot in London,
Okay.
in England, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So people don't have to hopefully travel too far if they're, in a different state, obviously, to find one of these places, right?
right.
Okay, so I'd love to be able to talk to you or have you tell our audience here what are some of the other modalities that they can find at Regenerate Wellness Center? And a lot of these modalities may be in other wellness centers, across the country as well. But some of these things I've not even heard of. Some of them I have, some of them I've experienced because I've come there to experience. But the first one we're going to talk about or have you, tell our audience about is something called Healy, Healy. What's that?
Yeah. So Healy is a little device that emits frequencies. So it emits frequencies out of the coil that I insert to it. And what it does is it actually scans. So I can um, enter you in to the system, and then it runs a scan to see what cells are deficient in energy, what cells need some help. So it could be anywhere from mental related with the job. It could be fitness related, muscles, um, or the regeneration of the muscles. It could be skin, hair, nails. It could be the bladder or the thyroid. So it's very specific on many different things. Also, it works on mind, body, spirit, and mind, heart coherence. Chakras. It works on chakras as well. The chakra reading that I can do with this is pretty informative. It gives a little printout of what to concentrate on and some
Okay.
mantras and
Okay. And then once you do that, then you're just better able to steer a person in the right direction of what may be helpful for them.
I can do that, yes, but this also emits frequencies, the microcurrent
Oh,
frequency. So it
okay.
not only tells me what you're needing, it also emits the frequencies. And the sessions with that vary from 20 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
just depending on what came up, what it read in the scan. So this was actually the very first little technology device that I found that had to do with Einstein's quote, the future of medicine, the frequencies is the future of medicine. And then the
Wow.
second quote that took me to the energy enhancement system was Tesla's. If you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency, vibration, and energy.
Wow.
So can't argue with those two geniuses.
No, you can't. What about the ZYTO Balance Scan? And that's for anybody that wants to know, ZYTO, the ZYTO
Yes.
Balance Scan.
Yes, so that's a cradle, a hand cradle that you set your hand on top of, and it sends digital representations of thousands of different things. So it's doing thousands of muscle tests within 5 minutes,
Wow.
and it generates a report on four major systems: your digestive system, the cardiovascular system, emotions and stress, and also the toxic system. So a lot of people, glyphosates, wow. A lot of people show up with a lot of glyphosates because of what they spray on our foods.
Okay, so for
So
those of us that might not know what that term means, me being one of them, what does that term mean?
uh, Roundup is an
Thank you.
example.
Okay, got it. Okay,
Yeah.
very good.
Roundup or the pesticides that the farmers put on their crops,
Okay.
any of that pesticide, insecticide that's glyphosate that's
Oh,
very toxic to our body. I mean, if it's meant to kill a bug, what do you think it's trying to going to do to you?
right, exactly. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, what about BioWell?
So BioWell is this little device here, and I can actually bring up a screen of a before and after. It reads the biofield of the body. And is it okay if I share my screen?
Sure, sure.
Uh,
Let me,
Sending a request.
okay, hang on. Uh, there we go. Okay, you're in.
All right. So this gentleman had done a scan back in February, and what we see here is his biofield,
Mm-hmm.
and the biofield is our energy, and the biofield comes from the inside out and also the outside in.
Okay.
So it's our environment impacting the energy of our body, and it's our internal environment affecting the health and what the biofield is going to look like on its way out. So we can see that the difference between the scan done in February to one done in April, you can see how much more healthy blue
Yeah,
there
I see
is.
that. I see that.
It's not as fragmented. It's more solid all the way around. A good a good biofield is has a lot of good solid blue lining the body.
Yeah. The latter
Okay.
one looks very vibrant.
Yes. And down here on the bottom, the energy is 10 joules and the energy is 19 joules.
Okay.
So the uh that is for the body. So that is a huge jump in energy too.
And how did he
He
get
went
from
from being on
go ahead, I'm sorry. I
he
get
went from being on
excited.
the low end. He went from being on the low end in energy to a higher end of energy.
And how did he get there? How did he get from February's to April's scan looking so much brighter and vibrant?
The energy enhancement system.
Okay. All right. So that was
Yeah.
what he did
He
in
spent
between.
4 hours a week in the energy enhancement system. Um, he's still, we're still plugging away. I wish he would come more often because the more you're in it, the quicker you'll get results.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for sharing that
Um,
image. It's very helpful.
detox is also really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what the BioWell does. It also does chakra scans,
Oh,
so I can
cool.
see where the chakras are. If they're coming over here on this side, then it's more inner emotions or towards oneself that's going on. If they're over here, then it's more social life towards others or work. So there's a whole lot of, I'm sure you can see all these tabs up here. There's a lot more information that I can get from it. Also on the organs to see how the organs are operating.
Wow, that's amazing. Love that. Okay, so
Yeah.
this next one we're going to talk about is something that I have gotten to experience, and it's called either emotion code, and then there's another one called body code. What are those?
Yeah. So emotion code releases trapped emotions from traumas, previous traumas, and also generational traumas. I've had emotions released from me that had to do with my mom's mom and my mom's dad that she never even met. My mom's adopted. My
Wow.
mom's adopted, so she never even met these people.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how our DNA translates. Our DNA brings in emotions as well. It's pretty incredible. So emotion code releases trapped emotions, and it's the best kind of therapy because you don't have to talk about it. Your body, your subconscious is talking to Josh through muscle testing. So he's just asking yes, no questions, left, right, um, row A, row B, or, just very specific questions. And he's got a software that he goes through that gives him the charts to ask to get to the source
Okay.
and to be able to release that. And that's how body code works as well. Except body code, he's able to work on certain um, parts of the body. So, for example, I had a thermogram done, and it came back with some rather large red spots that I was very nervous about. And so we just did body code with the mammary
You're breaking up a little bit, Elizabeth.
gland.
Can you hear me?
Just specific thermogram 4 months later, the red spots. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
you said something we did body code with, and then you kind of blipped out. So I don't know what you did with the body code to eliminate,
Okay.
eliminate those spots that you saw.
Okay. So with the body code, I had gotten a thermogram done, and they came back with some red spots on my breast that I was not very happy about. I was nervous. So we did body code, just focusing on the mammary glands,
Okay.
and went for a thermogram 4 months later, and those red spots are half the size that they were. And that's the only thing that I changed.
Wow, amazing.
So
Now,
just releasing the imbalances in the body helps release the toxins, whatever it's being caused by. So,
right,
I mean, this is a testimony right here that there's not a magic bullet. One modality is not going to be it. It's a combination of.
right.
So that's why I love the energy enhancement system, emotion code and body code, using I almost said the wrong word, using other technologies to help us see what's going on with the body, like the BioWell and the ZYTO scan, and then the proper supplements and the proper detoxing.
Right. You
Yeah.
mentioned emotion code, and I'm going to assume body code that can assist with even generational things. Like you said,
Yes.
your mom didn't even know her birth parents. Can it also, for those of us that, maybe believe in other lives, other places, can it help with past life energies too? Past life
Yeah.
emotions that are
Yes.
caught or stuck?
Yes, it does. Yes, it
Okay.
does.
All right, very
Mm.
good. Thank you so much. So this next one too that we're going to talk about, I also got to experience. It's so awesome. It's called Network Spinal Chiropractic. So what is
Mhm.
that? What is Network Spinal Chiropractic? How does that differ from regular chiropractic work?
Well, she hardly touches you.
Right?
So it is very relaxing. So she's trained to be able to see and feel and read the energy going through your spine, the cerebral spinal fluid. And she's able to see where there's blockages. And then she just facilitates just a light touch along the spine wherever it's needed, or the sacrum, or in the skull, just to help the body adjust itself naturally. So it's very gentle. It's energy work still. Um,
No,
so
it's
awesome.
very awesome. Yeah,
It
I
is.
loved it. What about foot detox? Ionic, I can say it. Ionic foot detox. Say that 100 times really fast.
Yeah. So the Ionic Foot Detox is one of the things that we offer here to help detox the body. Um, you put your feet in a tub, and there's an array that sends just a little bit of electricity just to separate the water molecule into a hydrogen and a hydroxide. And then the hydrogen is now small enough to go up into the body. It's a negative ion, so it attracts the positive bad stuff and attaches to it, pulls it in, and then pulls it out through your feet. But you continue to detox for 24 to 48 hours. So it's really important to continue drinking plenty of water so that you can release those through your kidneys.
Wow. Yes. Cool.
Detoxing, detoxing, detoxing.
I have to do that one soon. What about cranial sacral? What's that?
Craniosacral is feeling the cerebral spinal fluid going up and down. So our body does a natural inhale and exhale, and very minute. You have to sit there and really be quiet with it in order to feel it and see it. And so the parts of the skull, they all move out, exhale or inhale and then exhale. And then the sacrum acts like a cradle, acts like a pump, rather. So it helps the cerebral spinal fluid go up and down. And many times, a lot of people have low back issues because their sacrum is stuck. It's
Um,
not pumping, it's stuck. So then that causes so much tension in that lower area of the body, and that can cause a lot of back pain. So the craniosacral can be used for many, many, many different things. I had a client that had kind of a traumatic birth with her son, and her body hasn't felt the same ever since. So I used craniosacral on her with her body, with her organs to help realign and help the body naturally shift back to where it wants to be.
wow, I love cranial sacral. I mean, I've had it for like years and years. I don't know, 15, maybe more years. I've, found different cranial sacral practitioners in the areas that I've lived around the country, and it's just one of my favorite things, especially when it's combined with massage. It's like, oh, it's such a dream come true. So what about red light therapy? What is red light therapy?
Oh, this is another detoxing tool that we use and helps to stimulate the mitochondria. So it gives the mitochondria energy, just like the energy enhancement system does. It's just a different form and a different way of helping the body to detox. That's the name of the game here. So red
Awesome.
light therapy is that's how we use it for the people with the tumors in the brain. We have them use the red light over their head. Um, or if you have a knee injury, put it over the knee.
Wow. Okay. Very cool. So, I
Yeah.
mean, we've talked about so many cool things. Are we missing anything? Is there anything else that, wasn't on our
Mm.
list that comes into your mind that you want to share as a modality, a frequency energy
Well,
enhancement?
we also have an acupuncturist, so we all know what
Yes.
acupuncture is.
Hmm.
That again is helping the energy flow through the meridians. Um, what else? Any other technologies? Other than just the supplements that we have here, that's
Mhm.
it.
And
Mhm.
I know you have somebody at your center too that uses tuning forks. I remember that. So that's just another vibrational, therapy. Like, and you do sound healing baths, right? You have people that do sound healing
Mhm.
baths there.
Yes. Yes, yes. He's able to release any stuck energy in your biofield, or
Hmm.
um, he's used the tuning forks actually on the person's body to help alleviate tension. So it is a massage therapist that uses those tuning forks. Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you think, like, going back to the sound healing baths, I love sound healing baths. How does a crystal bowl, I mean, what is that about and how does it heal? How does
That-
sound heal?
Yeah, the frequency of the sound is what's resonating with the cells of the body.
Hmm.
Um, And with sound bowl healings, you have the different size sound bowls, and that's relating to the different chakras, which are different frequencies, which are different um, systems in our body.
Right. Because they each have a
So
different note, right? The crystal
yes,
have different notes. Okay.
yep. So think of the note as hertz, as
Yes.
frequency.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. So this is great stuff. I love this. Can you share with us, Elizabeth, how people can connect with you directly if they would like to experience the healing modalities that you're offering at Regenerate Wellness Center, or if they're not in our area here in Greenville, South Carolina, how can they find a center in their area?
So finding a center in your area, go to eesystem.com. You can also then to contact us. Thank you. Colleen just put in our website. Yep. And our Facebook and Instagram.
Mhm.
You can email me at Elizabeth at Regenerate Your Wellness, or Josh at Regenerate Your Wellness.
Okay.
Yep.
Wonderful. So, it was such a pleasure to speak with you, Elizabeth, today about this, really powerful and much needed energy to help bring these new frequencies to the world. So, I don't know, unless there's anything that pops in your mind, these last minute things that you're like, oh, I really should share this, we'll be ready to take some questions if anybody has any. Is there anything else that pops in your mind, Elizabeth?
I was at a biohacking conference this past weekend in Texas, and the number one thing, it's over and over and over. I went to so many workshops. Detox, detox, detox.
Okay.
Do a colon cleanse, a liver cleanse. Globalhealing.com has a great line of supplements to aid in all of these cleansings and supplementation. Um, that's the major thing.
And
Drink
drink a
water.
lot of water.
Drink water over anything else.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
filtered water.
Right.
Filtered water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. So Galia, she did put a question in the chat box here. It says, how much do sessions cost on average? I don't know which session she's talking about, but I guess maybe the EES system. Or
So
go ahead, Elizabeth.
So for the energy enhancement system, it's normally $50 an hour.
That's
But for
great.
first time, but
That's a great
first time,
price.
first time it's a buy one, get one. So you get 4 hours for the price of two. And then we offer packages and we also offer memberships. That if you have a goal in mind and you know that you want to come multiple times a week, we definitely make it affordable. It's kind of like it works like a gym membership. You pay a one-time fee and come in as much as you want during the day.
Okay.
Um, like a BioWell scan, doing the scan and a little bit of a interpretation of it is $50, but if you want the full Mac Daddy of it, it ranges from 100 to 120.
Okay. What about a body code and emotion code?
Those are $50 or $75.
Okay. This all sounds very reasonable.
Yes, I forgot to mention the Flowpresso. The
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Flowpresso
I
is
guess
is a device that gives a lymphatic
You're, wait, you're breaking up.
And
Wait a
the
minute, Elizabeth.
woman that developed this has been studying lymph herself, and she saw an okay.
Okay,
See me
I
now?
think, yeah, I see you now. So the flow
Okay.
presso, you better start over, I think.
So the Flow Presso was developed by a massage therapist who saw a need for lymphatic system help because that is our detoxification system, as well as our skin. That's why sea salt bath is so important. So with the energy enhancement system, I always suggest doing a lymphatic Flow Presso and the sea salt bath. Try a combination, also the red light therapy. Try and hit it from all sides.
Okay. Allie in the chat has a really good question. Allie says, are there any services that can be done virtually and or remotely, even a consultation about anything?
So I can do that with the BioWell. I can tap into your energy. I can do a distance scan with the BioWell. And Josh can do emotion code and body code. And he's just started the training on belief code. So he can do those virtually as well.
And Josh is who? He's your husband, right?
Yes, he is my husband. Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other services that can be done remotely besides the ones you mentioned?
So if you do not have an EE system near you and it's not possible to get to one, maybe you have a grandmother or something that is really we can put her picture with the intention, like her name, her date of birth, and with the intention of the healing that you are hoping her body will do. We can put her picture in the room.
Wow, that's amazing. Like long distance Reiki. It's long distance
Yes.
EES.
Yes.
Okay.
It is best to be wearing one of the medallions that's charged by the energy enhancement system with when doing that radionics. So if this is something that you would be interested in for yourself, get a medallion. You can either get it from us or from EE System, and wear that along with having the picture in the room.
Wow, that's great. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? You can put it in the chat or you can raise your virtual hand and unmute yourself. Anybody else? Questions for Elizabeth?
Kathy, I think as Kathy said, is it ever possible to get rid of all toxins, or is it only possible to bring them to a lower state? I think it's possible to get rid of, I'm not even going to put a number of it, until our environment gets cleaned up, it's in our water and our soil. I would say, unfortunately, no. That's why it's always going to be important for us to detox.
Okay. I'm seeing Allie put something else here. Can you recommend what we can do to support ourselves in reducing the impact of EMFs?
So I just found a company called Spiro, Spiro. Um, this gentleman, he traveled to the energy centers around. Did you hear that? Spiro, Spiro.
That's what we heard, and then you cut out.
Okay. So the gentleman of this technology, he traveled to all of the energy centers around the world to find out what do they have in common. Because all of the water there is amazing, but you can't filter water, or I mean bring water to. So what is there that makes it so powerful? And he found that every energy center around the world had gold in the soil, like nano gold, small pieces of gold in the soil. So he started testing that nano gold, and it blocks the EMFs. Um, he had an incredible story about chickens in a coop, and he put these spiros, the round discs that have the gold, nano gold in the center of it, in a sacred geometry shape. And when he placed the last disc for the shape, all the chickens went quiet.
Wow.
because they were no longer having the EMF disturbance. So Spiro is a great company.
Awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
for letting us know. I backed up from where I put your contact details in, and I looked like I missed a couple of people's comment slash questions. And so one person says, many of these modalities are able to be done without the tech. What is your view on how this compares? I don't know exactly what that means. Maybe you do.
Many of these modalities are able to be done without the technology. Do you mean like energizing the cells? That type of modality?
So that came
So
from,
I'm not sure where they're.
yeah, that came from whoever iPhone is. So if you can clarify, Elizabeth will try to answer that. And then I also missed, I don't think Hannah's here anymore, unfortunately, but Hannah said, how do you all offer services, modalities for each of the mind, body, heart, spirit aspects of a being? And again, I'm not quite sure what she means by that, but that was right before the iPhone question in the chat.
So the spirit, mind, body, that's what the energy enhancement system works on,
Yeah.
tries to bring cohesiveness between the spirit and our body,
Mm-hmm.
with all of the technology that's in the screens. Also being in a scalar field, which is a fifth dimensional wave, and we live in a three-dimensional world. So this is a wave that is outside of our understanding. Um, what else? The mind, body, heart, definitely the body code and emotion code really releases what's going on with the mind and the body. He also can release the heart wall. Mm.
Never possible get rid of all toxins. Kelly asked, and this goes back to, she probably sent this a long time ago. I'm sorry that I was unable to watch the chat very well while we were talking, Kelly. I don't think Kelly's still here either. And I am getting to you, Allie. I know you have your hand raised. But Kelly said, is it ever possible to get rid of all toxins, or is it
I
only
did answer
possible to
that
bring
one.
them to a lower state?
Yeah, I did answer that
Oh,
one.
did you? Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Very good.
I
Allie,
said
do you
we
want
have to
to?
keep on detoxing.
Okay. Allie, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
What an incredible presentation. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Colleen, thank you
Thank
for
you.
having Elizabeth, and Elizabeth, thank you for being here. My question is this. Epigenetics is important. And so too would be, you talked about the scalar field. And so the thing is, do you all do any consultations around supporting an individual around creating full integration? I was going to say self integration for all of ourselves, not just in our soma. However, also, for example, fifth dimensionally, and maybe bioenergetically, how can we create greater coherence and maybe even create attunements that allow us to create greater coherence and homeostasis.
So I'm going to be getting a ball called Illumis, and it is a biophoton that you would be holding in your hand. And I've experienced this, and I had to have it for this center. That is what's going to, when you meditate with that, it creates more cohesiveness with everything that you're talking about. And you had mentioned epigenetics, and that is, I partnered with the DNA company so that we could get to the source of what's going on. Um, so there's two avenues there, and then really getting rid of the imbalances with the body code and emotion code can be spiritual at times. It's a wonderful release.
Yeah. Wow. And so things like there are various technologies like grounding mats and things of that nature, and other types of technologies that allow for it does.
Frequencies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Schumann resonance, it's the Earth's frequency, is also part of the energy enhancement system technology.
Right.
So that does definitely help. Um, if I have like a grounding mat on my massage table for my clients,
Hmm.
um, it is it is for real. It is important to actually ground with earth though every day. Take your shoes off, stand on the dirt, stand on the grass.
Great. And I'm also a traumatic brain injury experiencer. You all may hear notifications in my background. Sorry if you can hear them. So I've been very drawn almost intuitively to craniosacral work. However, are there any other modalities that you can think of to allow for maybe whole brain coherence and just improving cognition?
The energy enhancement system. I've heard, I've read many, many, many testimonials of brain injuries or just people having a ringing in their ears that they go into the room and
Hmm.
after spending some time, of course, the
Mhm.
ringing is gone. So it just depends on the source of these things. But traumatic brain injuries, the brain can heal itself. We're
Hmm.
just going to provide the environment for it to do it.
Even for latent injuries?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Your body always wants, is always in a constant state of healing. It's
Hmm.
just whether it's stuck or not.
And what about traumas, healing traumas?
Traumas would be the body code, emotion code.
Hmm.
Also, getting a massage is helpful, um, depending on your level of comfortable of your comfort with that.
Hmm.
Um, mm, Network spinal would be helpful, but doing a biowell scan, I would be able to direct someone in what order. But because the energy enhancement system helps the body heal itself, that's always going to be part of the suggestions because it helps with everything,
Hmm. Wow.
new and old.
Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
lastly, for those of us who, I mean, because just living with a disability can be traumatic, especially if we're experiencing medical trauma and that kind of thing, and medical gaslighting, and what have you. I guess they would call it, I don't know, like, anyway, I'll just leave it there, medical gaslighting. There can be a lot of things like psycho-emotional trauma and what have you, even with people that love us, our families or what have you, especially if you can't see the injuries, and what have you. It just
Yeah.
creates dynamics in families. So I'm just wondering if this is an ongoing trauma that can't be ameliorated within the system. Is there a way that we can insulate ourselves or attune ourselves to keep our frequency higher so that we don't become more susceptible to comorbidities? Like,
So the detoxing
mm-hmm,
is very important. That's always the first place to start. Um, and then will it help? Then the technology, the energy enhancement system, the inventor, whenever she's asked, well, how many hours do I need to go in? Her answer is, well, how healthy do you want to be?
mm-hmm,
So it's just we had done, I don't know if you guys have heard of brain tap before. My husband and I did a brain tap scan this past weekend at that in Dallas, and they have a software. It tells you your cellular age. So how old are your cells, your telomeres of your DNA? And I'm 47 and my cellular age was 29. And that's just because of the energy enhancement system. So the body is always wanting to help itself. We just have to give it the environment, inside and out. So detoxing.
Yeah. Wow. That's wonderful. And if we can't get access to cleaner water, let's say we're out and about,
Yeah.
what do we do? I mean, there's something to be said about blessing our food. However, tap water, filtered water, distilled water, reverse osmosis, all that kind of stuff. How do we know? And then you've got hydrogenated water. Like, how do we know what to do? What's the best water to consume? And does it matter depending on where we are with our own pH? Maybe like,
So if you're out and about and you don't have a choice, try to get bottled water from a company that you are
filter.
familiar with.
What kind of bottled water? Like, what kind of water though?
Are
Spring.
you wondering
filtered.
like smart water that has a different pH?
I mean, I don't know. I don't necessarily have a high pH, but I'm just wondering what we do, because I'm often wondering, should I just do, like, I don't know. I can't think of it, but yeah.
It's just trying to drink the cleanest water that you can. The pH level, like with smart water and those other kinds, that's fine. That's good. It's not really doing what they say it's doing for our bodies because it has more to do with what we eat. As far as alkalinity and acidic foods, but just trying to get as clean of water as you can.
Okay. So Perrier and stuff, if we're out, isn't that helpful? Or
Oh, Perrier is the carbonated. The carbonation isn't all that awesome for our bodies either. That would definitely be a restricted, not restricted, what's the word I'm looking for? An every once in a while type thing.
okay.
I would not put that as my number one source of water.
Wow.
Great questions, Allie. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And then for my absolute last question, I don't want to run everyone off, but I think these are questions that would benefit everyone to know. So I'm a huge proponent of preparing my own food. I eat really clean for the most part. I've eaten cleaner. I've kind of fallen off. I used to be vegan, but I still consume mostly organic, non-GMO. When we're out, it's cost prohibitive, for restaurants to prepare food with such clean ingredients. What say you on that matter? Reduce our eating out and get back to preparing our own foods, or when we do go out, keep in mind about like the clean 15, the dirty dozen, and eat that way, or just enjoy yourself and not stress about it, because that also impacts how we metabolize the foods.
Yeah. And you mentioned blessing the water. Using Reiki over the water or over the water. You mentioned that, but doing that with your food as well. May this food nourish my body the way it needs. So that can be helpful. Yeah, we definitely try and eat at home as much as we can, so that we know what we're putting in our body. Yeah, and I'm glad you're doing the non-GMO and the organic. That's good.
Yeah, when I can, when I eat
it's
and prepare
difficult.
food myself. Yeah, it is. It is, especially if we're eating at friends' homes or, what have you, family that aren't necessarily aligned with these principles and the importance
Yeah.
of it. Yeah. Do you guys do consultations?
Yes,
You're breaking up, Elizabeth. I think you said yes.
yes, we do. Yeah, patients 30 minutes. So I would send you um, a consultation form to try and get some information, and then we would meet and go from there.
Okay. I'll be reaching out. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Allie.
Allie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for allowing me to join later. I just found out about the offering today.
Oh, yeah, no
Oh my
problem.
gosh, no.
I
It's
saw
been
you in the waiting room. I'm like, oh, she seems she seems like a person that wants to hear in on what's going on, so I let you in.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate it,
you're
Colleen.
so welcome. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. And
Thank you.
thank you again, Elizabeth, for sharing so much
Yes.
valuable, wonderful information. It was such a pleasure to have you here today. And
Thank you.
hopefully your words kind of continue to filter on or domino effect on through,
Yeah.
through the internet there when I put this on YouTube. And I can share it with you too. And if you have other platforms you want to share it on, maybe on your social media, you can do that as well.
That would
So
be great. Thank you.
yes, thank you, everybody. Take
Thank
care
you.
and have a good rest of your day.